Welcome to Tuesday of week 10 with Math 25. We've been doing some work, just a student and I, but let's start recording things. At the very bottom of the table of contents is the Math 25 overview, your final exam test. When we look at this test, then you do 3 review problems and then 4 of the Math 25 problems. So you're allowed to skip a few. If you do extra, that's great. If you do 30 of them, then I will grade all of them and you can miss 2 of them before they would count against you. I'll just pick the 34 best. At the bottom, you can see the answers. So click on this link and do a bunch of them before the end of finals week as a practice test. When you're ready to take a real final, and if it doesn't get you the grade you want, we can always try again. It's not like you only get one chance, but do a bunch of practice tests so we don't waste time. And then say, I'm ready for my final. And then I will load up the screen, not show the answers, and print out this as a PDF file without the answers and send that to you so that I know you're doing one without looking at the answers. Because every time we load it, the numbers change a little bit. Right now, we're working on number 28 from the practice test. So a store uses a 21% margin rate. They know an item can sell if it's priced at $6.11. So they need to find a supplier that can get this to them for a certain wholesale cost. So how do we do this with the $6.11 and the 21% margin rate? And did you want me to lecture or did you want to take over?
Do you think you could just go first? Because, yeah.
So there were 2 ways of pricing, just the way the vocabulary worked. Let me review them both. There was markup and there was margin. And the difference between them was all attitude. For markup, you start with the wholesale cost and then you go up a certain amount to get to the retail selling price. So this percent we would call a markup rate because it's going up. We're finding a percent of the wholesale cost. This is like the baseline for comparison, the focus we have. Margin is the opposite. We're going to start with the selling price and we go down a certain percent. And then we're wondering, can we find a wholesale supplier that can get it to our store at a cost that works? So we're going to call this one the margin rate. And for the margin rate, we multiply the selling price by the percentage, because the selling price is what this Outlook considers as the original, the thing we're focusing on. So again, if you're doing markup, then you multiply those 2. If you're doing margin, then you multiply these 2. Okay, onward to this particular problem. We have a margin rate. So we are now in the realm of margin. So we're going to say this is all distraction. It's not a markup problem. We're doing margin. So we'll take our 21%. We'll write it as 0.21 to make the calculator happy, using RipWop to go left out of percent 2 scoops. We're going to multiply the selling price. The item can sell if it's priced at $6.11. And whatever that is, $128.31. We had the selling price was 611. The difference is $128.31. 611 minus that gives us $482.69. That's what they need here for the wholesale cost. They need to check all their possible suppliers and say, hey, can you get my store, whatever this is, for $482.69 or cheaper? And they can say, sure, we can supply it to you for $480. And oh, great, we'll stock the item. But if all of their suppliers said, nope, the cheapest we can do is 500, then your store would have to say, well, we have to not stock that item because we can't make enough of a margin selling it.
Okay. Would you usually do the like first take the margin amount divided by the selling price and then go from there? But with this one, it doesn't have the margin amount available, or?
Some of them give you different numbers of this. So let's look in the test and find a different one. No, the other one with margin also gives you the rate.
Okay.
So
But so then you would just use this way of
do the
doing.
same thing, yeah.
Okay.
Actually, that was 28. That was the same problem, just with different numbers. Where's the other one with margin? Let's see another one with margin. I think we're good.
Okay.
Should we do 29? Should we do the markup one also?
Sure. Right.
Okay, so now we're doing this stuff here. I can't get rid of my red X after pasting it, but that is the one I want. So we're going to say that the supply has 5. We're going to go up 21%. And how much should we try and sell it for? So 0.21 times 5 is $7.35. So if I go up the 735, I'll get 42.35.
Can I ask why you add instead of subtract for the?
Because this one is mark up.
Oh,
So
going up.
starting with the wholesale and going up to the selling price.
Because it's always more expensive, the selling price?
Yep. Because with markup, their focus is on what the cost from the supplier is, and they have to go up from there.
Awesome. That's a good.
Margin was the opposite. Their focus is on what price tag do we put on it in our store, and then can we find a wholesaler that supplies cheaply and we can stock this thing.
All right. Okay. Can we do the number 32?
Sure.
Okay.
Let's do 32 and 33. This is something we haven't done in a lecture yet because no one this term is in the culinary program, but it's not hard to do. I'm going to pause the record.
Yeah.
Okay, so for the restaurant, if we looked here at entree pricing as a topic, there's two formulas. The first one is just our markup pricing with one more step at the end. And the last step at the end is to divide by how many servings, because if you make it of soup, then no one comes to the restaurant and orders the whole vat of soup. You have to put how much one bowl of soup is on you. And similarly, if you make a giant casserole, no one eats the whole casserole. You put how much a serving of lasagna is on the menu and so on. Okay, can I trouble you to repeat what you said while the recording was paused? Everyone else gets it?
Yeah. Yeah. So I did 37 for the food cost plus 35 for the labor plus 22 times 1.11 because that's 1 plus the 0.11 desired profit divided by 6, which is the servings.
So we're taking the wholesale cost to the business. The 1+ trick is to go up a certain percent and then add it in all in one step. So we took this amount and combined it with the original all in one step. So what did you get as your answer?
I got 17.39.
Yeah. So that's what they would put on the menu for one serving of whatever this is. The food cost percentage method is a little simpler. Some restaurants really don't care how each item on the menu is different by labor or by the other costs for electricity and rent and so on. They say that their routines are similar enough that all we really need to know about is which things cost more or less for food. So their formula has food cost divided by a scale factor and then divided by servings.
Yeah.
So in this case, the food cost was 37, and we ignore the others, divide it by their scale factor, which is 24.
0.24.
And then it's still 6 people.
Equals 25.7.
Yeah, 25.69.
Yeah.
These answers don't match, and these are 2 different restaurants with 2 different ways of pricing things, and a random number generator that's not caring if these actually make the restaurants have similar prices for their menus. So there we go, desired profit method and food cost percentage method.